Hey everyone, this is Jim Rigsby, and I'd like to welcome you to our new podcast, State of Greatness. I'm here with Miss Leah Martinez, and we got Nick Karstner on the camera. And I didn't forget your name, Mr. Dillon.
Not this time.
And it's a big running joke. But anyway, this has kind of been a passion of mine, and for about a year and a half, and I got a crew here that's helping me out with this, and Ms. Leah has been a fantastic coach, and so she's coaching me through my podcasting journey, right?
I mean, you are involved in so many things. You're a realtor and an actor and a photographer and a model. You do all of these things, and I think your story is one that not only you want to share it, but you want to invite other people, whether they're from the area or not, into the story and how it's part of their story.
Exactly. Because I'm sure all of us have gone through adversity and had different things going on in their life, and you wonder, what the purpose of your life is, or where's my life going to lead me, or you're stuck in a rut or whatever, right? And so I've got a very interesting story that I'm going to share it in another podcast. We won't do that on introduction, but I like to bring in folks who have grown their businesses, or they live become successful, live their dreams or whatever, right? And the crazy thing is that you can do it from Tennessee.
Yeah,
you can do it right here. Right here. And so being a realtor, I'm still going to talk about real estate and all that good stuff, but
well, we want to invite you all into the story, into our family.
Into our family, into the story. That's right. And that's what we are. We're a big family, aren't we? Yeah. So we're here at Signature Properties in Kingsport, Tennessee, and just a big, great family, lovely people, and all that good stuff. So, but anyway, I'm going to make it short and sweet, but we'd like to have you on board and check us out. And we've got several great things on the horizon. But
I think so.
Yeah, we got a cool studio, which took us a while to work on. And so, but anyway, that's it. You got anything else you want to say?
We're excited to start the journey.
Yeah.
Excited for you to be with us.
And I'm excited to have my team with me. We're excited to bring you a lot of great content. Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Jim Rigsby. This is our first episode of State of Greatness, and I'd like to welcome on board our owner of Signature Properties, Steven Hobbs.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm super excited. Super. So just a little bit of background. We've known each other, since 2015?
8 years now.
Yeah. So you were just a little old young thing that come in there trying to start in the real estate. and now look at you, man. So I'm glad to have you on board, because I wanted you to tell your story, because to me, it's a very inspiring story, because to be where you're at what? 29, which you are young. Oh, yeah. I'm
a lot of time.
But to tell your story at 29 is amazing. And so I think, it'll be something that maybe somebody can relate to. If somebody don't know, if they're struggling to get somewhere, or they're thinking that maybe life isn't fair to them or whatever, that, just some kind of inspiring story that I think you'll be able to maybe resonate and touch somebody, right? So anyway, I'm rambling on, but listen, let's talk about maybe, if you're okay, maybe your childhood or something like that. How'd you grow up and all that good stuff, and maybe tell us what brought you to here.
Yeah, I'll try to. This first episode, I'm going to hit on a few things, and then hopefully in the future we can continue with more episodes, and I can continue to kind of tell that story, and maybe today somebody will resonate with my story and hopefully inspire them to do their whatever it is that they're called to do. And kind of diving into that very first start of it all was my childhood. I get asked that question a lot about how I got started, how I got in the business. And honestly, I learned years later a very big important role of it was something that I had no clue, didn't even know about or whatnot. But growing up, had a great childhood, very loving parents. Didn't work out for them whenever I was 8 years old. So then I lived most of the time with a single mother. And then I had a very involved father growing up. And they both were strict, but also a good balance of lenient. They wanted me, the main thing they cared about was that I was happy. They didn't care how I turned out as long as I turned out in a good way, but they didn't put parameters on, like if I was going to be a garbage man.
They didn't tell you what you were going to do. They let you kind of just be who you wanted to be.
Yes.
And if you were happy being pumping gas or whatever, then that was fine, right?
Yeah. So kind of on that journey is a lot of it really picks up. First starts in the third grade. Mom got called into the parent teacher conference, and the art teacher had showed me how to draw house floor plans. And she got called into the third grade, and I had drawn a picture of a house. She said, "I think your son's going to be an architect." And so I kind of had got that in my head, like from that third grade mindset. And fast forwarding into high school, had an amazing opportunity with a teacher to learn how to actually draw house plans. I took AutoCAD. I started taking construction classes because I didn't want to be designing structures that can't be built or hard on the people that are building it. So I kind of wanted to get the construction aspect of it too. Kind of sticking to my childhood, I moved out when I was 17. Don't know what happened, but I just kind of got really independent the day I turned 16. Went and got a job at McDonald's. Got my 1976 Ford F-100 great grandfather's truck out of the shop, and
that's actually John's life story. Because when I turned 16, I went and got a job at McDonald's. Isn't that funny?
Really?
Yeah. Ain't that funny? Yeah.
It was.
So, yeah.
33, however many millions of people they employ. It's like a great the main thing it taught me is it taught me what I never ever want to have to do again. But worst case in life, if that's what I have to do,
if you have to do it, you have to try.
I'll be fine. Like worst case, I at least know that I got this to fall back on. That's a very far fall, but you got to start somewhere too.
Right.
And I remember getting that very first paycheck of $160 something, and I thought, I'm rich. I'm making the money now. I got that $164 and making all this money, but at $7.25 an hour with my 10-cent raises. But very grateful for that. Extremely grateful for that, because that taught me a lot. It taught me too that strangers care. Yeah. Early on in life, my parents were very protective, and they were like, don't talk to that stranger, don't do, and that's how we grew up. Now we get in strangers' cars, Uber, who would have guessed?
Right.
And having that, I guess, having that thought growing up, and then it turning into, I get to McDonald's and I'm around all these strangers, and they're fun, and we care about each other, and we work together as a big team to get a product out. And I think that really early on told me, hey, work together with people. Strangers do care.
Yeah.
And
so was it almost like you were protected as a child, like you were protected and isolated?
In some way.
And then when you got out there, you're saying, hey, it's really not that way. And actually, majority of the people, in my opinion, are great people. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's a huge passion for me now to want to help other people. And part of the reason why in the construction business I'm able to do what I do, and then part of the reason why I want to do signature properties, which that's episodes later, I can get into all that. But yeah, that was kind of early on, and then here's where the work came in. I was working 2 and 3 jobs, going to school full time, getting A's and B's, had a couple B's. Very upset about that, because I thought if I'm going to the one commodity that you learn at some point that you cannot make more of is time. And so if you're going to have to spend your time on something, you want it to be the most valuable time spent. And if I'm going to have to go to school, I'm going to get straight A's. Yeah. And that was my incentive. Yeah. And because it's like if I kind of slack off a little bit and I get an F, then I might have to retake it again. That's time wasted. So it's like, be very efficient with your time. And I look back and I'm like, how in the world, this sounds crazy, but I'm like, how in the world did I do this? But I was going to school full time, 15 to 19 hours. I was working at 2 jobs. I was flipping houses. I was sleeping 3 or 4 hours. And that was it. I would sleep in my car before I went to McDonald's. A lot of time.
Wow. Wow.
But it was I knew early on, I didn't know where I was going then. And I knew early on that if I sacrifice now, reward will be later. And I very fortunate enough to early on, I had some very amazing mentors. And even now I've got fantastic mentors. And that's one thing that I always suggest to people is get you a good, at least one good mentor. And something I did early on that was kind of funny is there was like some big successful CEO when I was running my aunt and uncle's dry cleaners when I was like 18, 19 years old. I asked him straight up, I was just like, will you mentor me? And that like completely closed the door. He was kind of like, this is strange or whatever, but I guess I could have done it in a less direct way, but I knew that I needed help, and I recognized that like early on, but that's
really the interesting trait too, that because being young, you normally don't ask for mentors, you're not looking, so it's really a cool trait that you had, and see, a lot of us, like me, for instance, you learn that as you get older, so that's awesome.
And I don't know how I don't know what I really don't know what it was. I mean, that had everything. I mean, I remember going through times, and it sounds like I'm older, but I'm literally 29. I just had a decade of hard work and I'm still every day working hard at it. But I think it's like, I feel like early on, I didn't recognize it, but now it's like, you can call it grace. I call it God, that I feel like God directed me in my entire life and orchestrated it. And I just remember these moments and all this stress and worry and anxiety. And earlier on when I didn't have God.
That's right.
And I was under all this stress, worry, and I still have that stress, worry, anxiety, but I've got somebody else to
There's a peace and there's a grace to it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I wonder sometimes why. Like like we may find out one day or may not, but like why I was on this kind of journey. Like I couldn't see the journey I was on. I couldn't see, like, if you would have told me 10 years ago I would be here right where I'm at today, I'd have been like, yeah, okay.
That's right.
My goal was to start building new construction houses in my 40s. I did it when I was 23.
Right.
And I can't, you can't explain it.
But looking back, that was something that you were passionate about, even inherently, you were passionate about it, right? And you didn't even realize it when you were a kid, and it progressed through. The same thing happened to me with my photography. As a kid, I was looking at cameras, and one thing led to another, and and now, I'm hosting workshops internationally. So I think we all have a gift that God has given us, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just a matter of finding that gift. And sometimes you were fortunate enough you found it early, and I found it a little bit later. So I think a lot of that is just getting out and finding it and trying it. And once you find that passion, it all just goes. Because I know what you're saying. You would have never thought 10 years from now you'd be here, right? And so, but it's something that you're passionate about, and that's something that it's an ability or skill that God gave you. And once you find that, it all falls into place.
Yeah, right? Early on, I guess I heard this 2 or 3 years ago, but really, really good friend of mine, Hunter Bradley, he's a youth pastor at a church, and he's been, kind of consider him one of my mentors as well, more of a friend, but he always tells everybody the two most important days in your life are the day that you're born and the day you figure out why. Those are the two most important days in a person's life. And that always sticks with me. And I like,
I've never heard that. That's
yeah.
very interesting.
And I feel like sometimes I'll get to a goal and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm destined to do. And then it's like something else, another door opens.
And just flip flops, or it goes in another direction.
Yeah, something else, whether it's a good door to go through or not, another door will open up but yeah, that's kind of skating the surface on my childhood.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, so do you mind telling everybody, where are you today? What we do? I mean, we haven't really talked about Hobbs Homes. You mentioned it a couple of times. and the real estate industry. Because you know, when I met you in 15, you were just a little young dude, you know, but you were very motivated. I mean, you were working all the time, and you were very, very motivated, and I always knew there was something different about you, because normally at that age, most young guys, or I was going to say kids, but I won't say kid, but most young guys are not as motivated. So, I mean, yeah. So from then, so when you came into real estate, you were building, right? Is that correct?
I was flipping houses. I was remodeling and doing tile work and doing, we early days, we were painting house. I mean, we were doing everything just to try to get
into that.
And then, then it was all trying to all work towards the spec house goal. But, I mean, right now I've got almost 10 houses going, new construction. And it's like, I remember I started building new construction in 2017. It was one house. 2018, one more house. 2019, I did, I think, like 2 or 3. 2020, kind of a similar thing. And then this year, we're going to be at like 12.
That's awesome.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Just that.
So it's just kind of it's a gravity moving up and moving up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's about keeping quality high. So kind of letting the audience know too, I guess I should have went into this a little bit before, but that I'm a home builder, and more recently part of the new ownership here at Signature Properties, and I kind of talking a little bit more about where I am today. That's something that kind of happened a few months ago, and I knew that I love building houses and do very well with it, and and that's growing, that's still growing. But I knew I needed something else.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to help more people. And so Shirley Warren, that founded Signature Properties, back last year, we started talking about succession plans, and her remaining the face of the company and me kind of working on the business behind the scenes. And that goal aligned very well, because I love giving back. That's helping people.
That's what I love about the company as well, is that we give back to the community. You know, a lot of people don't realize that.
No, but
you know, we give back a percentage of our commission, our personal.
And then the company matches
the company matches it, right? And so, you know, we've been giving out all these huge checks to
almost $500,000.
Almost $500,000.
So close. We'll be at $500,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah,
that's huge.
And you know, and every bit of that went to our community.
And we're a small mom and pop. We've done it at $500,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge.
That's right.
And I think that's that was one of the things that I was so gravitated towards this company, is that it really, I mean, it is a Christian company, and we got a lot of Christian values in our culture, our company, and it's like a big family. But that was what was so attractive, because I always thought about, do I start my own company? And then I had a really good friend of mine kept saying, talk Shirley.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful I was able to talk to Shirley and kind of have this transition kind of happen or whatnot. But yeah, that's been and that's a whole other episode for a whole other.
That's a whole that's one of those roads you talked about. You open a door and it went that direction.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I think it's a great direction.
Yeah. It's like you tell one thing I want the audience to realize too is you tell God your plan. He's like, hang on. Either he will say no because he's got something else for you, or he'll say, hang on, I got something bigger than what you're thinking. Let me push you.
You're not thinking big enough.
Yeah. And
that's right.
And you got to sometimes let him push you. And we recently went Friday night to the Elevation Worship concert in Knoxville. It was amazing. It's like you get recharged when you go in that environment. And Steven, that pastors that church, was there. And he talked about John 21, about when Peter is fishing. And Peter was ready to give up. He was 100 yards from the shore. Jesus is standing on the shore. And he's fishing like crazy on one side of the boat. Well, those boats are only like 8 feet apart.
Right.
Stephen talked about this message that all he did was put the nail on the side of the boat. And the moral of it was, you're closer than you are. You don't realize, you feel like you're 100 yards away, Really, you're only 8 feet away.
And it's, exactly.
You're so close.
It's
You're
just right
fast.
there. It's just right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
And so it's like, I think that.
And I think a lot of times people give up. They give up and they're so close they don't realize that they were so close.
Yeah,
And they
so
give up, and then it's a missed opportunity or whatever, And so, I think, that's what I tell my kids and my friends too. I mean, if you've got a dream or if you've got something, push for it. Go for it, go for it, go for it, and don't give up on it. And yeah, you're going to fail. I'm sure you've failed on the right. So you're going to fail. And so, but take failure as not as failure, but as a reason to learn and move forward. Right.
Yeah. And it's like I tell people in the construction business, like whenever they bring me an issue or problem, I'm like, hey, it's been 5 minutes. Let's get off. Let's focus on the solution. Let's spend all of our energy on the solution, not the problem. Because you're going to have those failures. You're going to fail. If you're not failing,
then there's a problem.
There's an edge. Yeah.
That's a problem. If you haven't failed.
Yeah, because you've got to try. You got to tweak. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes you're so close and you don't realize it. And I think that's kind of just keep fine tuning that. But as far as the next question about where I'm going, and where I'm, and it's like that question, I'm excited and I'm challenged by it. I am excited by it because I see where I'm at, but I'm challenged because I don't know where I'm going.
So you don't know where you're headed.
I know I see this vision of like where I'm wanting to take this company, where I'm wanting to take my other company, where I want to take some of my Airbnb properties and rentals and stuff like that. I see where I'm trying to go. And, I want to take care of my family and take care of my family hopefully for a long time. But I also, in that process, I want to touch lives. I want to take care of other people. I want to be the guy that leaves the $10,000 tip. And somebody early on told me, said, don't wait till you're old or when you think you're there. Do it on the way. And so early on, I started doing those little things early on, and my gosh, you talk about you changing your whole perspective. Go help somebody.
Yeah.
My advice for anybody that is feeling stuck or feeling like they're in this place so they don't know which direction they need to go volunteer. Go help somebody.
Go help somebody. You'll get a whole perspective, and you'll see maybe I'm not in as bad a shape as I thought I was, because my dad always told me this, and it stuck with me my whole life. No matter how bad you are or whatever predicament you're in, somebody's worse. There's always somebody who's got it worse. And so I agree with you. I think that's great. Go volunteer. Go to the food bank and give out food.
Do something.
Do something and help the community.
It doesn't have to be this big gesture. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, because you don't realize you got to pay attention.
But that one little action means a whole lot when you have 1,000 people doing the same action. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many lives have you changed?
Yeah. And it's always about see what you're watching, because you might have someone that you have no clue that's watching, and also too, getting yourself out of that environment you're in is so critical. Get yourself in another environment, whether that's going to the gym or going to this class or just taking that first little step. And maybe that's like too big of a run to try to climb on, but it's like taking that, don't look at the whole ladder. Take that first run and just start incrementally changing, and you'll see where you need to go. If you just start taking those steps.
I agree. It'll lead you in whatever direction, But as long as you stay in the same routine and you stay doing the same thing, those doors will never open for you. So sometimes to make a change, you got to make a change.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is, and but yeah, I think that's kind of, I've got my mind where I want to go, but I also know that God is continuing to take me in a different direction. And so I don't want to establish a goal and think that's crazy, I'll never achieve that. And I also don't want to set too little of a goal to where I'm like, But I think it's also too. Another huge thing I did early on was a lot of personal growth, a lot of books, listen to a lot of a lot of Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, and listen to a lot of those guys. But one thing they talk about is set your goals, but continually measure and continually adjust those goals as you go. And also, I think what's critical, and I am not perfect at this by any means, they all talk about you need to journal, you need to, constantly writing down and updating where you're going and what you're doing. And I am.
That is so hard to do, dude.
It is hard. It's so hard. Because you're going 200 miles, and you're a lot like me. You'll be going 200 miles an hour, and you'll forget about, recording. But I love going back through my journals from like 2016, 2014, from all the pictures I've taken, and I'm like, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot I was there. And my cousin Mitchell, whenever we were working together, he would remind me, be like, "Oh yeah, I remember when we had the," and that would be stuff I'd completely forgot about.
Yeah,
that and that's part of that shaping and molding you into
who you are today.
Yeah,
yeah, so you are today.
But yeah, like kind of. I know we got just a few more minutes. Kind of some of the things that I want to kind of leave with people, though, is if you're kind of in a rut, you kind of feel like you need to make that change, you kind of feel like you need to do this. I think that's one thing. I think another thing too that sometimes we struggle with is, and Zig Ziglar did an amazing example of this. Highly recommend go find the YouTube video of the woman that hated her job. I've seen that thing like 100 times because it's a very big reminder.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So he had this woman that was like, I hate my job. I hate this, hate this, hate this, hate this. And he had her change her mindset. He told her, he said, every morning when you wake up in the mirror, I want you to say, I don't remember exactly, but it was like 3 positive things about her job or 3 things you're grateful for.
I've heard that story. Yeah. But
yeah. And it's
where you
like,
automatically start changing your thought process.
Yeah. And the biggest issue that we as humans have is contentment. That's it. Game over. If you can have that, if you can be content with what you got and know that it's not all that bad and be grateful for what you do have, that's one thing. But then also too, there's this big problem in our country. I don't know about around the world. I've not been around the world a whole lot, but I just know in our country, a lot of people get stuck in these ruts. They get stuck with where they're at. They're afraid to make that next change. They're afraid of whatever other people are going to think. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's like people are trying to aim for perfection when they need to realize.
That's a great point. I'm gonna interrupt you for a second because I haven't really brought that up. That's a great point. Growing up, I was always worried about what other people thought about me.
Yes.
I'm going to do this for mom and dad. I got to do this for so-and-so. What are they going to think if I do this? So I was probably in my 20s, maybe late 20s. And I decided, you know what? God put me here. I'm the only person that can help Jim Riggs be here. And I'm not going to care what people think no more. So I go and do what I want to do, and I take care of my community. I take care of my family. I do what I got to do, right? But otherwise, I do what I want to do. And it's amazing how your life completely turns around and does free sound that you're free? Does that sound right? Does that sound good? That's about all I can. I'm free. I don't feel bogged down. I don't feel like I'm trying to impress somebody else. I don't care what people think about me because I'm here to live my life.
That's huge.
And once you get to that, I think the way I can just say is you're free. I mean, you can live your life and you can excel and you can produce and you can be abundant and I think that's what God wants us to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And no, I think absolutely.
I didn't mean to get into all that.
I love it.
I'm talking to you.
No, we gain from each other. No, I love it.
That's right.
And I feel like that's just I feel like this is just kind of a start into this conversation. And I feel like we're going to have
Love several. I would love to have you back. I'm going to have you back. You're my boss.
I was going to say, I'm like, one, good one.
I'll think about it. Let me think about it.
Yeah.
But no, man, I appreciate it. So I'm going to leave you with one question. I'm going to put you on the spot. So what is your definition of success? What's success mean to you? I didn't give you any indication I was going to ask this, but what do you think is success?
I think it's, gosh, that's like a million questions in itself. But I feel like for me, success is at least, I feel like the biggest thing to success is at least trying, at least showing up, trying.
That's great. Showing up.
Showing up's 90% of it. And we're focus. Always, this is one of my other little things. Where focus flows, focus goes.
Yeah.
So if you are focused on all the bad or the wrong that could come from the change, well, that's where your focus is. But if you could focus on all the good and the possibilities that could come from the change,
right,
and that's success.
That's your mindset. It's in your mindset. That's awesome, dude. All right, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Absolutely. Yeah. So super.
Time to get back to work.
Back to work. Everybody take care. If you like what we're talking about, please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you on board. And if you have any ideas of what you would like to see on future podcasts, please leave us a note down below. We got Mr. Nick over here, and we got Leia on our team, and they're monitoring all that for us. So I appreciate you, and everybody have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you.